How's everybody doing today? I'm going to do a little intermittent vlogging and riding and stuff. We're going to do a big loop. We're not going to do the Dragon today. We're going up towards the Dragon. We're going to hit Wayah Road, which is an amazing road, and then we're going to hit the Charahola and then some cool roads home. We'll get some good video of that. I'm going to vlog a little bit as we go through Helen, Georgia, and up over 1775. Day didn't start off very well. Broke about $1,000 worth of parts on my Ducati. In a rush, trying to get out, trying to make sure people aren't waiting on me and all that stuff. Is Nick ready, or is he still dicking around back there? And had the bike up on the lift, was checking tire pressures, doing all my pre-flight check. Yeah, if you look at it from this side, it's beautiful. Just don't look behind it or on the... Dude, I'm so bummed out. I know it's just plastic and shit, but it's like, now in my head, it's not new anymore. It's psychological. So, I have it up on the lift. I got the motor running. I start rolling it off the lift. Didn't realize the kickstand's down, and I'm on the left side, so as soon as the back tire goes down the ramp, kickstand hits and basically kicks it to the right. And I'm like leaned over. I just couldn't stop the fucking thing. So it takes a tumble off the lift in my garage and shattered the solo cowl in the back, broke the mount underneath that holds the brake light, broke the brake light, and scratched up the lower right fairing, bent in my rear brake pedal. Easily, because the plastic subframe, it's like a, I don't know, some kind of injection molded graphite, I don't know. Luckily it wasn't part of the cast aluminum, but that broke. We were able to super glue that together and have it hold the brake light from flapping, but the brake light's got a hole in it and it's cracked in a couple places. Luckily I had some clear, I had a roll of PPF left over from the Corvette, the protective paint protection film. It's like that rubbery self-healing stuff that's crystal clear. So we cleaned up the tail light and cut it out with a little Swiss Army knife pair of scissors, and we repaired the tail light. And the only saving grace was I had the really nice rear cowl, the solo cowl, took away the passenger seat. It was like a $400 frickin' thing. That's smashed into pieces. Luckily I had the stock tail with the rear seat, passenger seat. So at least I had that and was able to put that on, because that was all busted off on one side. It was just sitting there flopping, so I was going to have to just take it off or tape the shit out of it. The lower fairing on the right hand side. Luckily it didn't hit the tank, didn't hit the levers, didn't hit the blinkers, do any damage there. Little tiny scratch down there on the bottom. I mean, little. You'd have to look for it, and you probably wouldn't even think it was enough from it dropping, because luckily it landed on a bag of trash on the front, so that cushioned. But something, I think, as it tumbled off the lift, the edge of the lift, the metal lip, caught the lower fairing and did scratch it up a bit. It's not through the paint, so I'm going to see if I can buff that and maybe touch it up with some clear coat. And if not, then I'll just take it somewhere and have it professionally just repainted, or just see what it costs to buy a new one. Gonna have to buy a new brake light assembly. I think the subframe that I think it's fixed, because it's not really structural. It just holds the thing in place on the one side, and it's super glued together. It was a fairly clean brake, so we're able to get it set properly. What I'm gonna do is take some charcoal and grind it up, and you sprinkle that on the brake, on the gap, and then you put super glue on that, and it's like JB Weld for plastic. It's incredibly strong. You can like whack it with a hammer. Something about that, or baking soda, when you mix it with super glue, becomes this incredibly strong compound. So I'm gonna shore it up a little bit. It's up underneath where you can't see it. You have to take the tail off to see it, so that's good. So if it's a little lumpy there, where I build that little bit of a bridge just to reinforce it with charcoal and crazy glue, not a big deal. So the tail will be fixed. It's just, I think I'll be able to buff out most of the piece on the lower side At some point I'll show the damage. It's not a lot. It didn't crack it. It didn't gouge through into the plastic. So I think I'll be able to just kind of buff it a bit and repolish it, and maybe a little bit of clear on it, or put a sticker over the part that maybe doesn't polish out. And I'll just be like, it'll probably be good enough, because I don't feel like spending, it's probably like $295 from Ducati for a little piece of red plastic, and that's not really worth it. I'll just get it good enough and put a sticker on it, and hope that nobody notices, even though I'll know it's there. So it could have been worse, but I mean, if you add up all the damage for that piece, if I had to replace that, the tail and the brake light, I mean, those three pieces alone are over $1,000, which really friggin' sucks. So that started the mood. So Dave's a little bitchy today, because I'm mad at myself. I can't believe I was unloading it off the thing, which it's only a foot off the ground, but unloading it with the damned kickstand down. Should have known better. It's going through my check and checking my wallet. Do I have my gun? Do I have my Swiss Army knife? Do I have this? Do I have my debit card? The normal stuff I have to go through because I have severe ADD. And if I don't force myself to go through a checklist when I leave the house, I will forget half my shit and then have to make trips back to the house, and then I'll be angry and be bitchy about that. So I go through my whole pre-flight check, and I was just counting off in my head. It's getting hot. I see those guys are waiting in the driveway, and I just was not thinking. I was trying to rush myself a little bit. Not their fault, my fault. And I just did. I don't even remember why I had the kickstand down. I think I was just cleaning it because I put the new gold chain on last week. And so it got, I got most of the chain lube and shit that it ships with off of it, but it still flings some of it on there, and it was attracting dirt, and it was all grimy. So I think when I had it up on the lift and I was cleaning the chain, I had to put the kickstand down so I could hit it with a rag and some brake cleaner better, get it from all angles. When it's tucked up in, I couldn't get it the backside. And I forgot. I didn't immediately put it back up. And so loading it off, it doesn't hit the ground when the bike is up and down, but as soon as the back tire starts going down the ramp, now the back tire is higher than the front, and as soon as that middle part of the bike where the kickstand is hits that where the drop off is, it hit it, and because it was maybe rolling just a little faster than I guess if I'd been going really slow I would have caught it, but it kind of hit it and bounced it towards the opposite side that I was not on. If I'd been on the other side, it would have bounced it into me and I would have been able to hold it up. But being leaned over like that, and not, by the time I realized, oh shit, it's going over, it was too far gone. I couldn't grab it, couldn't hold it. So delayed our ride by about 35 minutes while Cam and I put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And now I just got to order a new tail light assembly. Maybe I'll just get, I've already got the tail tidy that has the integrated signals. But if one of the integrated brake lights with the signals is actually cheaper than the OEM, I'll just get that, and then I'll just have, because the ones that are on the license plate tag holder with new brake cycles, they're not that bright in the sunlight anyway. So I wouldn't mind actually having a better set. So I'm hoping those are only like $300. And if I can buff out and get the other thing good enough, granted it doesn't replace the $450 or whatever the hell I paid for it tail piece that I got. So when I do a track day, there's a place there for number plates and stuff. But at least I had the stock tail, the OEM. Always keep that stuff because you never know. So here I was able to just swap that shit back on, which honestly, if I was going on a trip and needed to put my luggage back there, I'd be having to put that stuff on anyway to mount the luggage to the seat. So not the hugest deal, but I hate throwing away $450. And it's not worth throwing an insurance claim because that's the deductible. It's like $500. So anyway, we'll go fix the brake light. If I can get that ordered today, get it this week, that'll be good. Then I'll go to the auto parts store probably tomorrow. This is gonna be a 350-mile ride of nothing but like this, just all gnarly, twisty. This isn't gnarly right here, but most of the road is going to be. So by the time I get home, I'm going to be wiped. So I may just run to the... I got a ribeye I got to cook up and some Brussels sprouts. I may just do that and call it a day, and then get up first thing in the morning and go get that buffing kit. You know, the one you put on a drill with the polishing compounds and stuff. And I'm just going to take a whack. I can't make it worse. So maybe I could get that and find some of that cover-up type clear stuff you wipe on afterwards. And I don't know. The tail light's the bigger concern. It is at least sealed, so if we got stuck in the rain, I won't get water up in there. But it is all cracked, and you can see the piece of plastic missing. You just... I don't know, it's just pieces of plastic, and it's just a bike. But psychologically in my head... Oh, look at that. Trailer brake locking up the rear wheel. And this douchebag that's just like, oh, there's an overlook. Let me just slam on the brakes and stop. Freaking old people, man. We're going to get past these folks as soon as we can. It's weird, you got trailer brake on such a small trailer, but he's not towing that much. He's got some, I don't know, 500-600 pounds of hay bales. So what I'm going to do is probably talk a little less. We'll just do a little quick run up 1775, then I'm going to shut her down. We got to go up all the way through Hiawassee to the other side, pick up Route 64, take that east a ways to Wayah Road. Wayah Road is amazing. I think it's better than the Dragon. It's a nice flowing technical road. It's really nice. The pavement was beautiful last year. Unfortunately, my camera battery died a minute into it. Like as we were getting, before we even got to the twisty parts, we just went on the road and Cameron's like, you got to film this. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, yeah. And then womp, battery goes dead. I got none of it. So, we're gonna film. I'm gonna film just a little bit. You know what? Fuck it. You've seen enough 1775 in other videos, although it's usually coming the other way. I'm gonna save my battery. I'm gonna shut her down, and we'll see you when we get on Wayah Road. Stay tuned for that. It's gonna be awesome. Are we back? Yes, we are. So, we are going to hit what I think is one of the best roads in the area. In some ways, I think it's better than the Chirahalla. It's absolutely better than the Dragon. Everyone's like, oh, you got to go to the Dragon, go to Deal. Yeah, go there so you can check it off the list and say you've done it. It's not that great of a road. It's a very technical road, and it's great when you have it to yourself. If you're out there on a Tuesday afternoon and you get to run one end to the other pretty much by yourself, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of a workout. It is challenging to go, quickly. In that regard, there's a reason why it's such a popular road. I think a lot of it's just like, I don't know, ego's the right word, but it's like, well, you just got to go there because that's where everybody else says. It's a good road. There's better. So last time I was on this road, we had a blast. I was on my ZX14. Dino was riding my MT10. Nick was here. I think Donna was with us on that trip, although I'm not 100%. I don't remember. We went down this road and had an absolute ripping time. And I found out that my camera quit right about here, before we even got to the twisties. So I got none of it. None of the twisties. It was right on this stretch. So hopefully the same thing doesn't happen again. But you get down here, and it's like this road that kind of runs along the river or something like that, if I'm remembering it right. Cameron's been on it more than I have. I've only done it once. So I'm going to hang out in the back and just get video, let them set the pace, and I'll just try to match it. I don't want to get a ticket. I'm already in a bad goddamn mood because I dropped my goddamn bike off the freaking lift this morning and smashed a bunch of pieces, and I need a new brake light assembly, and I got to repair part of the little subframe that holds that in place. I'm gonna have to buff out, see if I can repair the lower right fairing. My $450 tailpiece, gone. It's in like 7 pieces. Just, oh, I'm such a freaking retard. I'm like, all right, let's get the show on the road. Whoop, smash. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. Had the thing 4 friggin' months. So, as I said earlier, luckily I have the stock tailpiece. It doesn't look as cool as the seat cowl, you know, with the seat delete. I never really used the passenger seat other than to hold luggage, but it is what it is. At least I had those new plastics that had only been on the bike for a week, and I'd wrapped them up and put them aside with the stock passenger seat, and so at least I had that to revert back to, and I repaired and I'll re-strengthen the little piece of the plastic subframe. And the only piece I'm hoping I will have to buy is the tail light assembly, which is that big, cool looking tail light. I'm guessing an aftermarket one with an integrated light's going to cost me $300. So hopefully at lunch I'll be able to find one online and order it and get expedited shipping and have that repairable before next weekend. And then the only other thing, oh, dude, Nick, God, he does sketchy fucking passes, man. The dude's gonna kill himself one of these days. Nick, stop being a fucking clown when you do that shit. You don't pass into a blind turn on a road you've been on once. Well, even if you know the road, you know what? You just never pass over the double yellow into a blind turn. You have no idea what's coming. Could be a frickin' tractor. Someone towing a horse trailer. There's no chance of stopping or avoiding. I'm going to be talking a little bit less because this is, Jesus. This is a really technical road. I'm going to hang back a little bit because if Nick crashes, that gives me... And Nick, I'm not trying to be a dick and saying you're going to crash. I'm just saying, if you crash, I want enough time to avoid running over you. So I'm going to hold the same pace, but I'm going to run back just a little bit. I want them close enough that I can see their brake lights if there's something in the road and I get a little bit of warning. But time to stop and take evasive maneuvers if the unfortunate happens. Problem is on the show, there's snake. Not a lot of passing zones. Although not a blind turn. I swear that truck was speeding out just to keep us from passing it. Alright, some guy with his girl in the back, I think. As soon as we get the nod and knows we're there, we'll do a clean pass. Well, I'm going to do a clean pass. I don't know about Nick. Dude. Hey, go right around them. See? You never know when that's coming. time passes over the double yellow. You just gotta, like, I mean, I have a video showing that kid passing and then coming up into a turn like this and going, oh shit. If there had been a car coming the other way, he'd have been embedded in that dude's grill. Gear this bike down slightly. I really do have to ride it like a 600. I got to keep the revs up, and then you go from like 30 up to like 70. Like I think it's geared a little tall. I think what I might do, like this almost has to be a first gear turn, because my revs are gonna be way too low to have any good power to pull out. I never pull out. Giggity. But I think it'd be nice to, yeah, like here, I'm having to feather the clutch a little bit because it's not a fast turn. Oh, I just got to drop a gear and do it first. And then at least when I come out, have good drive. Maybe just go up a tooth on the rear sprocket. That's what I did on Donna's Monster. And that was enough just to give it a little bit of drive. I don't want it to be buzzy on the highway. That's the only thing. Yeah, it's like first is too low, second is too high. Oh, that does. Oh, Jesus Christ, that does tighten up. I was like about to downshift, and I was looking down. I'm like, wait a minute. When they say 15, they kind of mean it. All right, let's catch back up to them. This road, Jesus, so you would not expect it to tighten up like that. Oh, a little bumpy. It's a weird road because you get into this cadence of sweepers, and then you run into that hairpin without any real warning. It's a fun road, but it's one you have to be careful on, because you get these bigger sweepers where you're like, oh, I could go fast. And so you kind of get this pace of bombing in left, right, left. And then all of a sudden, you're like, that turn is way freaking sharper than I thought. And if you overcook it, oof. You're gonna break more pieces than the one I broke this morning, that's for sure. Sweeper, nope. Oh, this road's crazy though. It's fun. Not a bad day. Temperature up here is gorgeous. I should have dropped a gear, damn it. Had to just pull in the clutch so I didn't lug the motor. Yeah, that is, I mean, it's not the downside to this bike. I guess it's more, the better word is the trade-off. It's just this, you know, if you want a twin, you want all the mid-range punch, this is not the bike. This bike is about top end, revving it. You got a great kick up top. But unlike the older monsters or my Streetfighter 1098, you'd be sitting there. If I was at like 5,500 RPMs, I mean, God, you have gobs of torque and power. Donna's Monster, there's tons of power there. This just doesn't. And I keep forgetting that. Whatever gear I feel like I should be in like one lower. Because you just don't have that oomph until you get it over 7,500. And then from there, it's a little rocket ship. Like a 600 or a 750. But it's weird when you're used to twins having all the power down low. The Super Quadro motor just doesn't. So, not necessarily a bad thing, just you gotta ride it differently. Yeah, see, you hear that thing just take off, like, rip! You gotta get it spun up, and then it's like, happy to. Oh shit, is that gravel? Yeah, now I got tons of power coming off the turns. But now I feel like I'm going slower than I should be. Yeah, definitely. torquey. Alright, we're ordering a sprocket for this too. We're going to go up a tooth on the rear. And a brake light. Gravel, a little bit. Still recording? Yeah, good. Not my fastest riding, nothing I'm gonna ride home about, but it is a good road. It is a lot of fun. And this road's, I guess, less than 2 hours from my house. Not that far. All this stuff, Cherahola, Dragon, all of it's like in our backyard practically. Slightly taller sprocket will be moving my back wheel a little forward, shorten up my wheelbase just a tiny bit, maybe like a 1/4 inch, make it turn in just a little bit quicker. Alright, I'm going to conserve battery. I think we're past the best parts. If it comes back, we'll come back. We'll be back for the Cherahola. We'll break it up into segments. And but for right now, we're going to shut it down, and we'll talk to you, gents, and the one woman subscriber on my channel. We'll chat soon. Right, I believe we're back. And then we're on the other side of the way. We're just running along the river here. Yeah, I've decided I'm ordering a 1/2 taller sprocket. I want just a little more oomph. I'm going to look at Gearing Commander and run the numbers, make sure I don't clip my top end. But honestly, I don't ever want to really go over 150 on this thing anyway. It's just not fun on naked bikes when you're a big dude. So, but I don't want to be riding it like crazy RPMs on the highway. But I think a little re-gearing, I think this thing's geared a little tall for what it is. Give us a little more bite, a little more oomph out of corners. When the gears are kind of tall and spaced further apart like that, what's this jackass doing? You get in these situations where one gear's too low because you're kind of up in your RPMs on the side of the tire, and you're going to have to shift real quick if you do drive out. Or you're geared too high and then you don't have any drive, at least on this motor. So I'm going to definitely gear it down. Order my brake light. Let's see where that takes us. Now I do know that if I decide to get a pipe and tune it, flash the ECU, that will give me more mid-range punch too. First and second gear, and maybe even third, has torque limiters in place to limit power in the first 3 gears to make it smoother and more friendly. taking my hand off the bar to wave. Forgot, oh yeah, there's a rev limiter coming up. Anyway, what was I saying? That, you know, when you flash the ECU, you pick up several horsepower and some torque in the mid-range. So maybe just one tooth up in the back will do it. And then the tune and pipe will add, you know, 8, 9, 10 horsepower and a bit of torque. This is just an absolutely lovely ride. I'm trying to get some video of the creek, but I need to pay attention to the road. Knees are starting to hurt. Let's see, from the house, we've done at least 100 miles. Probably 108-ish. We stopped for gas in Helen, but that's really it. Starting to get hangry. The anger from dropping my bike is starting to fade. It's annoying that I'm a tool and drop the bike, but then the other part, the logical part of my brain is like, at the end of the day, it's just money. I know it sounds callous to say, but I mean, in the big picture, if I gotta go spend a few $100, put a new tail light, get one that's integrated, like instead of Nick's got the little separate blinkers, see how cameras is integrated right into the tail itself. I think I can get one of those for the same price or cheaper than the OEM replacement, so I might as well do that. So it looks like we're going to stop and converse about our next course of action. We'll be back.